can I ask you guys if you thought about how we stop gap or plug the midfield? Now we know that there's no one's arriving. So have you thought about like what kind of creative things that we could try? That might be, what's the word? When it's just not what you expect to do, but we just tried it.
I only thought the stopgap, but I do think, like James was saying there about next summer and the money that we'll be able to spend, I think they're going to have a similar strategy like they had. This summer they literally removed the old attack, put a brand new one in. I reckon that might be the case for the midfield next summer, where it's literally old one out, Casemiro leaves. It feels almost likely now that this probably is going to be like Bruno's last year. He might end up finally taking that Saudi move. And then you get the new one in. So you look at Baleba, whether or not he's still going to be quoted 100 million by that point. Who knows? Depends on the season that Brighton he has. And then Adam Wharton, depends what happens with Palace this season, what have you. I could see a similar situation where it's like, right, all the focus is on get a new midfield next season. But then what we do for this season, I don't know if it's just not going to be great. Basically,
we could survive with Casemiro doing 60 minutes, one game a week with whoever his partner is, Bruno or whoever. Could
I
we
think it'll be
do
that a lot. I think depending on the injuries, like you said. So this week showed us immediately what kind of things could happen in the flexibility within the squad. So Cunha's got injured immediately, game 3. We don't know how long for. I really hope that international break it might not be as bad, and actually he might not be able to start at City because he would have had a couple of weeks out. But hopefully the game after that, say Chelsea, argument's sake. But anyway, immediately we saw the manager go, right, Kobe, you can play now. I'm going to put Bruno
Mount injured as well, Fleck.
Well, shit, yeah, and Mason Mount as well. So
I think that was real minor. I think that was real minor.
But with Mount,
minor turns into
3 months. Yeah, we don't see him again.
I think we should be more confident about Cunha's than Mason Mount.
Cunha will be back for sure. But
the setback, the setback walk is not good. The setback, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, to answer your question, bro, I feel like it will just be with what we've got. Yeah, I think when everyone's fit, I think the manager showed us kind of what he thought. When everyone was fit, I feel he was like saying,
whose house is
that? Your host is James Scott.
That's mine. I got the big dog.
That sounds wrong. What the hell is that?
Yeah, that's the German Shepherd and the Doberman, the scary dog.
That don't sound like
they are big. That's big. They are
I could hear that. You just feel like that's not a normal size breed right there.
Yeah, that was not.
Yeah, we got the big dogs. Yeah,
it's kind of bearish. Yeah, I think he showed us the manager. Well, ones that are that big. The manager kind of showed us that I want Bruno. Well, he told us. He said, "Bruno, you'll compete. Kobe, you'll compete with Bruno." Blah 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 blah. As soon as there's an avenue to mix things up, maybe and Bruno comes off during a game, then Bruno goes one forward, then you bring Kobe on in the 70th minute, stuff like that, which is probably feeding into a little bit of the people that are saying, "Listen, man, he'll get games somehow, whether that'll be enough for him." Clearly he didn't see it that way because he wanted to leave, but with that happening, I think he'll just, and then we saw Mason Mount play back there as well, didn't we, for a little bit? So he obviously sees him as being able to do that for a little bit. So yeah, man. But the last thing I was going to say before you guys I'm not going to lie, man, you see Adam Wharton, I think he's actually so key to what I'm not saying we're front runners or anything, but I actually think he should be numero uno target, I think obviously Baleba definitely as well. He's wicked. Let's get both. That's the dream, right? But Adam Wharton is such a tempo setter, such a progressive passer. His interceptions are really good. When people say the Carrick regen, that one you can just, everything can actually go through him. Baleba is more explosive. He'll progress the ball through the first, traveling with it. But Wharton is I don't think it's spoken about. It is. People are saying how good he is, but for our team in a 2 as well, I just feel like he'll be cash money, man. I'm trying. That's the one I'm really looking at, actually. Baleba, yes, of course I want him. Absolutely want both. But
the 2 of them.
Wharton, get both. Yeah, man. Let's try and work out a way to try and get them. Them 2 would be.
Is it too defensive? Because one of the things I wanted to bring up about the way that we're playing and what I kind of feel Ruben might go with and might have realized, hopefully, I think we play too defensive. for his system as well.
Wharton, we solved that. Wharton gets the ball forward fast.
Yeah, no, he does. But I kind of look at like Bruno and Cobby in that game, in that, and I kind of liked the balance of Cobby picking it up deeper, so it's not Bruno picking it up deeper, getting out of there, and still being able to use some of his on-ball qualities and things like that. There's a lot of games where I feel like we could be more attacking. Like you play a 3 at the back, some of the advantage of that is that you don't always have to have a 6. You know, you could, because you push De Ligt, you push those center backs up. Like you look at Mazraoui when he came on, by the way, was really good when he came on, being so aggressive in helping the team stay up the pitch to attack, to step up into the midfield. Maybe we can be a little more attacking from the midfield and not so defensive in there.
Some people are saying try Mazraoui as a makeshift. We tried him in a 10. Why can't he play deeper?
I feel like he's really good with the game in front of him. I think he's a lot better with the game in front of him, personally. That's part of it, rather than behind him.
What are you saying, Minna? Do you feel, what you say midfield, like, is there options there to get through, or is it just like find a way to get through and then go get the big boys?
Yeah, I don't think there's really any options. I think that's probably the area that we have, I would say, the most unconvincing depth.
Yeah.
The thing that bothers me about Amorim's system is how reliant it is in ball progression in the wide channels, which kind of nullifies the midfield. So I don't see Amorim wanting to push for a player like genuinely speaking, if United signed Wharton next summer, I think that's an Ineos signing, and it wouldn't be a manager signing because for me, that's not a midfielder that I could imagine Amorim wanting to utilize, because you guys we've seen over the last 9 or so months how Amorim uses his midfield, and it's not to progress the ball. You see the ball going through, the wide centre backs, and he wants them to be the ball progressors, and he wants, the wing backs to be the ball progressors, and he wants, the game to kind of go to the 10s through the wide channels. And I always say that's one thing I don't like about the way that Amorim plays football or tries to get his team to play football, is how he neglects the midfield. I think any team that doesn't have a balanced midfield and the game doesn't run through the midfield, I already think that's kind of a weak spot. And you've seen a lot of the opponents that we come up against, all they have to do is outnumber us in the midfield, and they can win the battle. And when they win that midfield battle, they tend to win the game. And that has been the case. I would love a player like Wharton. I would love to pair him with a player like, Lamine Kamara, even a Baleba if necessary. Do we go out and sign someone in January? The only thing that concerns me about next summer is how slow things move when it's an international tournament. Like the last Euros, it took us how long to actually get Joshua Zirkzee because he was with the Netherlands, and he barely even played with them in the last Euros. So I can imagine the last World Cup, because it was in the middle of the season, it never really impacted the summer transfer window. Whereas I think the World Cup will have a huge impact, because not only are players going to play so much football in this season, but there's going to be a small gap between the season ending and then probably the camps starting. They're playing more games at the World Cup, so the World Cup is going to end later than usual, which will only give us a smaller window, I think, to get those players in. Then, say hypothetically speaking, England go to quarters and Adam Wharton is part of the squad, or they go to the semis. He's going to get a break. And this is just hypothetical, of course, but he's going to get a break after the competition, which will then even delay, a move happening for him. So if Man United are going to go out and, go for players, go for a midfielder, a quality midfielder, I hope they do it before the actual, international competitions. With other, for example, Chelsea got Quenda done halfway through the season. Last year, I think the year or so before that, they got Malo Gusto done halfway through the season. So I would hope that would be the case for whatever midfielder we go on to sign. But if worse comes to worse and Casemiro gets injured and Ugarte is injured, and play Onana in midfield. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? What's the worst that can happen? I'm sure he's better in midfield than he would be.